What's going on, guys? So just to confirm that you can hear me right now and also see my screen, just go ahead and type a 1 in the chat box so I know that we're ready to get started, and then we'll move forward and get started with the weekly technicals. And then as usual, after the weekly technical session, we will move into the Q&A portion. If you guys have any questions, just be sure to post those in the chat box. And if you're watching the recording of this and you do have a question about something that I do mention, just reach out to me directly. That could be on Telegram or Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever's the easiest way for you to communicate with me, and just send me your question that way, and then we'll go ahead and I'll make a video or I'll answer it directly for you. Hey Jeff, what should I really be paying attention to since this is my first live stream? What's up, Paul? So mainly what's going to happen, man, is every week at 10 a.m. on Sundays we do these live sessions, and typically, I'm just going over what I see potentially unfolding for the week, both for the upside and the downside. So the bullish scenarios, meaning potential up scenario, like scenarios that could move up, or bearish scenarios, which would be scenarios that could move down. And the reason that I do go over both of them is so we have a plan for if the market moves up or if the market moves down. Doing them on Sunday like this, we don't have the market open or anything, so we don't know too much other than what we've seen the previous week in price action. So I would say, what you need to focus on mainly is just the levels that I talk about that the market could potentially trade to. And mark up those levels on your chart. So for example, if I say, watch this 93.20 level at these lows right here, then what you're going to want to do is come on your trading view chart, grab this little trend line here. So if you click it, it'll pop out with a bunch of different options for you to click whatever you prefer. And you can either use a horizontal line or a trend line. And then what you're going to want to do is mark those levels on your chart just like I have them. So like this, you don't need to go and mark everything that I have on here now, because this is mainly for what the things that I focus on and like how I read price and what I see as it's unfolding. So I wouldn't say you need to mark out every single level I have on here. That's going to be too hard for you to try to calibrate them the exact same. But just focus on the levels that I talk about that the market could potentially trade to, and make sure that you have those levels on your chart so you can watch what the market does when it trades to those levels during the week. So for example, this level may get traded to on Tuesday, and you want to see how the market behaves once this level gets traded to. So I hope that helps for you, Paul. And of course, man, if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll help you with anything that you're struggling with, and help you try to get as much clarity with it as you can. What's going on, Emmanuel? Nice to see you again, man. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the weekly technicals portion of this live session. Again, the Q&A will be at the end. If you guys have any questions, be sure to post those in the chat box, and I'll check them at the end of the live session. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and we're going to get started with the weekly technicals session. This is the dollar index that we are looking at here, and we're starting with a weekly time frame. Now, I do want to start with a weekly this week. I know we normally start with a daily, but I do want to start with a weekly because we have a few things that I want to mention. And we could see some interesting things unfold in the market pretty soon. So one of those things is the market here has posted a higher high. So we have traded above this previous high here. Now, once we did trade above the high, we just formed a wick and rejected off of this resistance level here, and we just quite missed this bearish weekly ICT order block here. Now again, the ICT order blocks are just a bearish one is an up candle before a down candle closes below it, and then any trade back up into that up candle should hold as resistance. Now again, we didn't see that level actually get hit, so we could potentially come back up to hit the low of this ICT bearish order block, which would be 95.62. So you guys want to make sure that you have this level on your chart, 95.62, and that's going to be this red line here, and that's going to be the next level of potential resistance for the dollar index. So that's what I'm going to be looking for the upside objective. Now, I don't necessarily think now last week I was thinking, we're going to get a continued strength in dollar index And that still may very well happen, but we are going into a time where the dollar index does get weak. So during the summer months going into the fall, the dollar index usually is very weak seasonally, which, over a longer period of time. So for example, this isn't saying that, every single year the market will actually be bearish for dollar index during the summer months to the fall, but most times it is. And you have to obviously look at price action and see what you're getting unfolding in the charts. Now, what we've seen so far is, what it's indicating to me is a stop run on the weekly, because we've posted 2 wicks like this. So we've traded up into this level, but we couldn't hold that level, and we immediately sold off. So that is indicating to me that we're likely going to continue lower with dollar index. Now, again, it doesn't confirm that we're going to go lower until we do get below these 2 down candles, which is a weekly ICT bullish order block. So I'm going to move into the lower time frames in just a second. I just want to talk about these 2 down candles as well as this candle that we had here. So we know that this low at 95.62 is what we're looking for the upside objective. Now for the downside objective, I want to see if dollar index can break below this 93.20 level, which is these weekly lows here. Now if dollar index gets below that, I think we're at least going back to 91 big figure here, which will retest the structure. Okay, so you guys know that I always talk about we're consolidation. Once we break out of the consolidation, we look for a retest of that. It's all the same on every single time frame. So for this example, we're on a weekly, so it's going to take a lot longer to unfold, but we still look for the same scenarios that we'd look for on a 15-minute as we would on a weekly, on a monthly, all of that stuff. Every single time frame, you look at price the same way because it behaves the same way, but higher time frames have stronger support and resistance levels that you're going to be working off of. So for example, weekly chart, again, dollar index, if we do trade below these lows, it's likely we're going to go back to 91 big figure to retest structure. That would be the next level of support. Okay, so we would be able to capture a down move from these lows down here. So pretty much about 200 or 320 pips. Sorry, 220 pips. So that would be the potential downside move that we would be able to catch on dollar index. Now, we don't need to get in a sell up here because we're still within support. What we want to see happen is the market break below this 93.20 level. So have this 93.20 level on your charts. So you guys should have on your charts this 93.62 level. I'm sorry, 95.62 level and this 93.20 level. Those should be the 2 levels you have on your charts because that's what we're looking for the upside, and this is what we're looking for the downside. So if the market does trade below this, this is the exact type of scenario that I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to look for a move below here, and then I'm going to look for a retest of that, and then we're going to look for a continuation. So let's think about what I'm talking about here. We're on a weekly time frame, so these things need to occur on a weekly basis. So we need to see the weekly candle close below here, then retest it, and then continuation lower. So we know that this isn't likely. If we trade below here this week, then early on next week we're going to see this retest, and then we'll look to sell it into that. So up until the market gets here, we can't confidently say that the market is going to be in an overall downtrend, right? Because we're still within the support. So what we need to do is we need to move down to the lower time frames, and we need to work off of the lower time frames and see what type of price action we're getting and what could unfold in the future. Whoops, I just made this red, blue. Okay. So now we're going to move down to a daily, and then we're going to talk about this. So we had the equal highs here, cleared out the equal highs, one sweep here, came back up, made another sweep, and we've got another set of equal highs that was left in the market here. So that, again, for the upside, before we get to that 95.62 level, the first target would be these highs at 95.50 because we've got equal highs. So what I'm watching on a daily time frame is we have this ICT bullish order block here. So I'm seeing early on in the week, if the market trades into this level, if we start showing signs of support, meaning we're forming higher highs and higher lows. So all that would look like on a lower time frame is you would just see a low like this, then you would see a high that's higher than a previous high, then you would see a low that's higher than a previous low, and then you would see another high that's higher than a previous high, and then another low that's higher than a previous low. So that's what you would be looking for to confirm that the market is bullish once it gets to this level. But you would be looking for that scenario to unfold on a 15-minute time frame or a 5-minute, because you've already identified the daily support level you're working off of. So to confirm that daily support level, you need to move to a lower time frame, such as the 15 or 5-minute, to confirm they're buying the market at that level. Now, the reason that I think that they could, if we do get a bounce at this level, the reason that we could get that is because we do have a low right here. We have equal highs. So if the market trades below this low, that would take out anybody who bought the market and placed their stop loss below here. So that would take them out. And we'd also be trading into support here, which is an ICT bullish order block. So I would like to see them find support if they're going to continue higher at this level here around 94 big figure. So keep this level on your chart on the daily time frame, 94 big figure. And then we have these equal lows. So if we do break below this 94 big figure ICT bullish order block here, then what I'm going to be expecting is a run on these equal lows coming in at the 93.20 level, which is those weekly, the same weekly lows that we were just looking at. So these equal lows here on the weekly, this is what they look like on the daily. Alright, so what they look like on a daily is these equal lows. So there's going to be obviously resting liquidity below here, because anyone who bought the market and caught the move up, they're going to have their stop loss here. So if the market does break below this ICT bullish order block, this is going to be the next level of liquidity. And we do have another ICT bullish order block here, but in my opinion, it's likely if they break below these lows with a strong bearish candle, like a bearish candle closing down like this, then it's likely they're going to run this liquidity here at 92.20 and again take it back to this 91 big figure level. So have those levels on your daily chart. You want to have this daily ICT bullish order block high coming in at 94.03. Mark out these equal lows here, so you're understanding that the market will trade below these equal lows if this ICT bullish order block is taken out, and then you can put a little X below here too, because this will be the next level of liquidity for the downside if the market doesn't find support at this level here. So in terms of how we would get on board for entries for this, we're going to move down to a 4-hour now from a daily. So if the market does trade back up into this, back down into this 94 big figure level, I want to see the market again showing us signs of buying, which would look like this. You would see the market start to form a low at around or at this level here, then push higher, and then you would want to see the market trade back down and not break this low. So you would want to see the market make a higher low, and then from there you'd want to see the market make a higher high. So now we're confirming that they're buying off of the market. They're buying the market off of this level. We know that because we've seen bullish price action off of here. We've seen a low, a high, lower high, a higher low, and then we've seen a higher high. So all you would be waiting for at that point is just the retest of structure, which would be this high, which should form another higher low, and then you would expect a higher high. So that's this is what I look to enter my trades off of on the lower time frames. What I'm looking for is a daily or 4-hour level. So this is the daily or 4-hour level, the 94 big figure. Once the market trades into that level, it would be taking out this level of stops. So it's taking out liquidity and trading into support, which is usually a high probability setup. And then we wait for the market to prove to us that they're buying off the level. Once we get that break of structure, buy the retest here, we can go long at around, if this is the exact range that we're getting right here, and we went long right here at say 94.20, placed our stop loss at 94 big figure, 20 pip stop, and then we'd be targeting these equal highs at 95.50. So in terms of a range or pips, that'd be a good little bit of movement. That'd be about 140 pips or so. Now, if they are buying off of this level. Now, if they're just continuing selling, so if the market is just breaking through the support with big bearish down candles, so you just see continued bearish candles trading through the low, through the support like this. So you just see a big move down. It's just trading through all this. It's not holding it as support. All we're going to be looking for at that point is just a retest, and then we're going to look for these equal lows to be taken out, which would promote buying in foreign currency. So let me delete all this stuff. And moving from a 4-hour, we can look at a 1-hour and see if there's anything else. Now, if you guys look at this on a 1-hour time frame, look at what look at these equal highs that we have here. They're perfect equal highs, and the market has this low that's resting right here. So by the market not being able to make a higher high above this one, that's indicating, that there could be potential weakness in the market because it hasn't posted a higher high, nor has it posted a lower high. It's just equal highs, which we use as targets. So we're expecting that level to get traded to eventually. It doesn't have to be soon. But in terms of what we expect near term, this liquidity here is going to have a lot of stops built up because look at the significant movement away from it. And now you can see we're getting big down candles and we're respecting resistance on the lower time frame. How do I know that we're respecting resistance? We talked about this ICT bullish order block here in Thursday's daily technicals, and I said if it trades through it, it should act as resistance. We've seen exactly that, and then the market sold off. Okay, once we made this lower low here, this low is lower than this one. We traded up with an up candle, back up into these 3 up candles here, which is a bearish ICT order block. From there, we sold off. All right, and then we just posted this lower high here and then sold off. There was really no actual bearish order block or anything that it hit. It just traded back up and then sold off. So like I wouldn't have anticipated this move here, but again it was on Friday, so I wouldn't have taken this. So what we will be looking for is a run on this liquidity at the 94.20, taking us back down into the 94 big figure, which will be that ICT bullish order block on the daily time frame. Now again, once we get to that level, we have to see if they're buying. If they're not, then we're going to obviously know that they're likely selling the market, and then from there we would look to buy foreign currency, meaning we'd look to buy Euro USD or GBP USD. So that is pretty much it. If I'm going to be a buyer of dollar index, I want to be buying it here at 94 big figure. After they've proven to me they're going to go higher. Now, if they break through this, then obviously I'm going to want to be a seller, but we have to let price unfold first and see what we get. So the 94 big figure is the level that I'm going to be watching to see what we get off of that. So let's go ahead and we're going to move to euro dollar now, and we'll do the same with this. We'll start with a weekly. Now, if we look at euro dollar on the weekly, we cleared out this liquidity here, formed a wick below it, wick, and then we're starting to push higher. What I want to draw your attention to is what's going on in here. We've got a higher low forming. Okay, this candle that formed this low is higher than this low, and then by this candle closing above it, that indicates that this is a new swing low. So we've got a higher low in place. Now, what that could potentially mean for us is we're getting a market reversal and a potential longer term move to the upside in euro dollar. Now, if that's the case, our first target would be the bodies of these candles, which comes in at. Now, why would I target the bodies of the candles? Because the bodies of the candles is where the most liquidity is. So the open of this candle comes in at 1772. So 1772 will be the first target that I'm going to be looking for the upside on euro dollar. So let me just draw that on here. And then we're going to make it red. Could that continue to go lower? Yeah, I'm going to go over the bearish scenario as well, Antoine. So for the upside, we're going to be looking for this as our first target, then this swing high as our next target, and then ultimately back into this low here, which would be a retest of structure, which is the inverse of what we've seen in dollar index, of dollar index wanting to trade down into that old support, which is structure. So by seeing this level here on euro dollar, we can expect that if dollar index does continue lower, we would expect this level here on euro dollar, which comes in at 21.50. So have this level on your charts, 21.50, and then have this level here at 17.72 on your charts. And then, so if we get above that, then we're going to be looking for this and then this here. Now for the bearish scenario, we do have this up candle here, which once this down candle closed below it, it is an ICT bearish order block. So we could very well find resistance here and then sell off and come back below these lows, ultimately taking us back into this small ICT bullish order block here, and maybe even potentially into this series of down candles, which is this ICT bullish order block, before this up candle closed above it that made this a valid ICT bullish order block on a weekly time frame. So just based off of experience and what I've seen so far, by the market taking out the liquidity below these stops and forming a higher low so far, to me personally, it looks like it wants to go higher. At least take out the liquidity above here. Maybe it wants another round of selling from there, but it all depends on how the market closes above here. But it's likely to me that if dollar index continues lower, we should easily be able to expect euro dollar to achieve this level. And when we go over euro GBP, you'll be able to see that as well. So let's go ahead and we'll move to a daily. Now you guys can see that we have this resting liquidity here on a daily time frame. Again, inverse of what we have on dollar index. We have the ICT bearish order block that's resting here right above this liquidity. So the market could very well take out the stops above here, trade up into this level, which comes in at 17.25. So have this daily level on your charts, this ICT bearish order block. This could be another round of selling once they hit this level. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think they're going to want to push back above here and ultimately take price higher. But if they do find resistance here, just be prepared for that. You're going to want to see lower lows and lower highs forming off of this level. And if that's the case and we get hard reject, like massive selling, then we're going to be looking for a new low to form and then take out that 1.15 big figure level. So let's go ahead and we're going to drop down to a 4-hour now and see if there's anything. In terms of an entry for this, if I am going to be a seller on this pair here, I want to sell it at this 17.25 level after the market has proven to me that it looks like it wants to go lower by forming lower lows and lower highs on a lower time frame. If that's the case, I'll be a seller here and I'll call the signal in the group. Now in terms of a buyer, what I'd like to see is if we can get a potential move down into this level here, which would also form a higher low, I would like to be a buyer at this ICT bullish order block on a 4-hour. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark this out now. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to mark out the high to the close of this candle. I'm not really going to use the wick, but just mainly the body and the high of the candle. I want to see how price behaves around those levels. And if we can get a move back into that, I wouldn't mind being a buyer around 15.80 for euro dollar, expecting that dollar index will continue lower and euro dollar will continue higher if that's the case. So that's what I'd like to see on euro dollar for the buying scenario. Selling scenario would be here. Now if we break right through this and we start continuing higher, then we'll just have to position ourselves based off of current price action that we get. So I always let Sunday unfold, and Monday's trading, it really depends on what the market sets up for me, but if there's a clear setup, I'll take it. Most of the time I wait till Tuesday London session to take any trades because that lets the week kind of get established, and then I'm able to go in with a clearer perspective. So that's what I'll be looking for euro dollar. Now let's go ahead and we're going to move over to cable. And cable, for those of you guys that may not know, is GBP USD. This is my favorite pair. No particular reason why. I just mainly trade London sessions, so this pair moves a lot during London, and for me that works. So we had these equal lows here, and we didn't necessarily get that 1.30 big figure level that we were looking for, which is no big deal, but we did come back down, and we did clear out the liquidity below here. So we can see that in the form of this wick. You can see that the market traded below, so it was a big bearish down candle as it was trading through here, and then it rejected and pushed higher. So as we look on a lower time frame, you guys will see a low that forms, and then the market is showing strong bullish candles. But on a weekly, you have to keep in mind what it looks like, right? So on a weekly, we came down and we took the liquidity, and then we closed with a small body candle with a pretty long wick. So this is indicating, that they're likely finding some support here. And that's completely normal. I mean, we found support here before. We've cleared out some liquidity. It could very well push up from here. If we do start pushing up, I'm going to be expecting this to be my longer term target at 37.20, which will be a retest of structure. Now, again, longer term, we're on a weekly time frame, so that could take a while to unfold. But I just want to let you guys know that these are the levels I'm looking for if we do get that weakness in dollar index the summer through the fall, and which would cause strength in foreign currency the summer through the fall. So keep an eye. We'll have this level here on your charts. It comes in at 37. Put 37.10. You could use 37.10 as your level. 37 big figure to 37.10 would be the levels that you're going to have on your chart, or at least looking for. So in terms of upside, what I'm going to be looking for will be this high to be broken, and then that would lead to a continuation to this level here. So on a weekly time frame, what that would look like would be a close above here, and then we'd be looking for a retest of that level, and then we'd be looking for further continuation up into this level. Again, all the stuff that we talk about on a weekly is valid on the lower time frames. So if you see price action like this on a lower time frame, then you can trust that it's likely a buy setup unfolding. One second, guys, just had a minor sneeze attack, so let me blow my nose. Hold up. Sorry about that, guys. So in terms of cable on a weekly time frame, if we do break above here and retest that level, that would be an optimal buying opportunity for the target of 37 big figure to 37.10. So keep those levels on your charts. That's going to be something to watch out for. Now, in terms of the bearish scenario that we could see is, now we don't have a confirmation that this is a bearish order block yet. If you look at these two up candles, there hasn't been a candle that's been able to close below the low. So that this is not a valid ICT bearish order block. So there is no real level of resistance on the weekly time frame that I see that it could trade up into for another round of selling. So on the weekly, all I see so far on cable is this upside objective until it shows me continued weakness, and then what I'd be looking for is that 33 big figure level, and then ultimately this low back here at like 27.80. But that is much longer term if we do get continued weakness. Alright, so if we look on the daily now, you guys can see once we took out the liquidity here, forming that wick, it was an immediate rejection and the market pushed higher, and it didn't waste any time to get there. So we moved from basically 30.50 all the way up to 32 big figure. Okay, so that's like 150 pips. Yeah, about 150 pips, and it was able to do that in a day. So when we get movement like that, that usually indicates, that there is that it's coming off of a pretty significant level. So, and you can always, tell by what does the next candle look like, right? So you can see that the market formed a low, taking out liquidity, and on a Thursday, and then on a Friday, the market rejected and traded all the way back up here. So until we break above this high on a daily time frame, it's still overall bearish. Now, the reason I say that is because we have these three candles here that are up candles. On the daily, it's confirmed an ICT bearish order block because we have this candle here that closes below this low. So we could just be retesting that and then sell off. So keep that in mind for these three up candles. Again, that's why we wait for Monday to unfold. We want to let a little bit of price action develop in the market and figure out get a better idea of what they're going to do for the week. This is all assumptions, pre-week before the market opens, all that stuff. But this is the stuff that you have to do. You have to formulate these ideas because, formulating these ideas is what will lead you to become a profitable trader, because you have to anticipate what the market will do and then you have to react to that. So looking for this high as my next upside objective, which does come in at 33 big figure to 33.20. So looking for those levels on the upside. Now, if we do find resistance here, I would obviously have to wait on a lower time frame and wait, for it to show me that it's finding resistance at this level by forming lower lows and lower highs. And if it does do that, then we can look to sell this market only if dollar index looks like it's going to continue higher, maybe after it's traded into that daily ICT bullish order block or something like that. But primarily, I want to focus my energy on mainly euro, just primarily because the price action is a little bit clearer right now. Now, if we do get above this high, that'll tell me a lot more about cable, and then we could look to buy this market. And I would actually prefer to buy this market if we do get above this high over euro dollar. Just personal opinion, but it really doesn't matter. We could buy both, so it doesn't technically matter. But in my opinion, right now, the better buy does look like it's in euro. And we're going to go ahead and move over to euro GBP in just a second and talk about why. So now moving on to a 4-hour time frame, I want you guys to just for anybody that's been in here for a little while now, and we called that 33.15 level, maybe like whatever that was a week or two ago, and notice the significance of that. So go back and you can watch that video. It should be the daily technicals of June 20th or June 21st. So I would definitely check that out, because you'll hear me talk about this 33.15, and then you can see how the market behaved off of that level. But 33.15 was an ICT bearish order block. It was these candles here. It was also a retest of structure, so the market broke structure and didn't quite make it up here to retest it. So once we came all the way down here, we expected them to clear out the liquidity and retest structure, and that's what we ended up getting here, was at 33.15. Then the market found resistance, sold off, posted a lower high, and then continued sell off from there, making a lower low. Now, once we did get to this level, notice what the market did. Pushed up, formed a higher low, formed a higher high. Okay. So what would we be expecting going into the week? Well, if this level back here is going to be a significant level, then this 4-hour ICT bullish order block should hold, right? So we can draw this level out. So I have this ICT bullish order block marked out on a 4-hour time frame. If the market trades into that and shows me that they're buying, so again, it has to show me that they're buying. So on a 15 or a 5-minute time frame, I have to see the market forming the lower high, why do I always do that? the market trades into it, forms a low, and then you see a high that forms. Doesn't necessarily have to be a higher high yet, but it posts a high, and then the market trades, and the key is it forms a higher low. Okay, so the low doesn't break the previous low. At that point, it indicates that they're buying the market. So you can either buy it based off of that higher low. It takes more experience to do that, so I don't expect you guys to be able to do that. That's fine. What I generally look for is the market to break out. So it's going to break structure coming off of the higher time frame support. Then I wait for the retest. So I wait for the retest, which should form another higher low, not breaking the previous one. Okay, and then we could buy it here and look for continued up move. So that's always what I look for any time I'm like trying to validate that they're buying a level, and it's the complete opposite for selling. So if I'm trying to validate that they're selling off of a level, I want to see lower highs and lower lows forming. So that's going to be the level I'm going to be looking for to be a potential buyer and cable. Now, if we do trade through that, my eye then will go to this down candle here, which will be the next ICT bullish order block, and I want to see if they can find some support here. Is it necessary for them to come all the way down to this level again? I don't necessarily think so, because we do have this one that formed here. But again, the market is the market. It could very well come below here, take out the stops, trade into this, and then push higher from there. So again, we like to wait, let the market unfold a bit, tell us what it's going to do. After we get that clearer understanding, then we can go in with a little bit more confidence. So have these levels on your chart. This is what we're going to be watching. Will they find support at these two levels and continue higher based off of that? So again, keep those on your chart. That's what we're going to be looking for. And then our targets for the upside will be 33.15 as the first objective here, which will post a higher high, breaking structure. And then we'll be targeting this high here and then this high back here. And ultimately just pretty much each swing high going forward for as long as we get the uptrend to continue for. So let's go ahead and we'll move over to Euro GBP now. And this is the one I wanted to talk about. So if we look at this one on a weekly time frame, we've been consolidating for God knows how long. A really long time, pretty much a year now. We've just been consolidating. Even if you go back further, it's been longer, but pretty much a year of just small body consolidation, in Euro GBP. So what that allows is usually significant movement in the majors, Euro USD and GBP USD, because they're holding Euro GBP in a tight range. So now what we've seen is Euro GBP post a weekly candle that made a higher high. So these are all weekly candles. So this is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. 5 weeks the market just stayed at this level here. All right, this ICT bullish order block here was just being respected for 5 weeks. Finally, it's broken away and it's made a higher high. So what does that indicate to me? Well, that doesn't indicate to me that Euro GBP could just start going parabolic and start going extremely high. But what it does mean is Euro is stronger than GBP. So by Euro being stronger than the British pound, what would that mean for the majors, Euro USD and GBP USD? It would mean that Euro USD would likely be a better buying opportunity, right? So if we expect weakness on dollar index, which already by itself means higher Euro and higher British pound, then we look at Euro GBP and see this could continue higher. Well, at that point, we should focus all of our attention on Euro dollar. Okay, because Euro is the stronger of the two currencies, and we're expecting potential weakness on dollar index. So that's mainly why I'm going to be focused on Euro primarily until we get a confirmation in British pound. So let's look at the upcoming news releases that we have for the week, and we'll see how we can map out our setups based around the news releases. So something I like to do is, I have all these levels on my charts. I have all these ideas in my head about what I'm going to be looking for in the markets. Not only are they in my head, they're also on, a little journal with like screenshots and stuff. So I highly recommend that all you guys do that as well. So you have an active view of the levels and the things that you're looking for to unfold in the actual market. So, if we look at the Forex Factory here, we've got British Pound News, Manufacturing PMI at 1:30 a.m. London session on Monday. So we're likely going to get a lot of volatility in cable Monday London session. So we'll see what we get. Maybe we'll get a potential setup in that. Again, on Tuesday, we got Construction PMI here. So London session 1:30 again for British Pound. Same thing for Wednesday. And then Thursday, we've got a lot of dollar index stuff. Oh, shit. I didn't even know that we had... Okay, so Thursday we have FOMC. And Friday we have NFP. Okay. So I knew we had NFP. I did not know that we had FOMC. So what that means is all of our trading is going to be now moved to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We will not be trading Thursday, and we will not be trading Friday because we don't trade NFP and we don't trade FOMC. It's too volatile. It's not a good market to be participating in unless we're in a longer term position from Monday or Tuesday and stop loss is locked in profit. Then it's a different story. If that's the case, then we'll manage it accordingly. But as of right now, we will not be entering any trades on Thursday or Friday. Any trades that we enter will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and potentially look to get out of them before Thursday. Okay, and we've got 4th of July on Wednesday. Okay, so this is not really turning out to be like a super awesome week. So we're really going to have to keep the majority of our trading, I think, between Monday and Tuesday, primarily London session, because that's when we have the GBP news. So it's likely that we're going to be really active Monday, Tuesday, London session, and then it'll kind of die down Wednesday, New York session, really. So Monday, Tuesday, and potentially Wednesday. I'd like to be a buyer of Euro more, but we're going to have to see what the movement that we get in is that we get with cable, because Euro news we don't have until Thursday, and we have FOMC that day plus NFP the next day. So it's just, and we're going to be coming off of a holiday, so we're going to probably see a lot of weird price action this week. So it's just be cautious. If you're going to be trading these days, I mean, I'm not, so you're not going to get any signals from me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Any signals I send will be Monday or Tuesday, and Wednesday London session. But after that, there's not going to be nothing else for the rest of the week for me. This is what I focus on, guys. Like, I focus on keeping my money. And the way that you can keep your money is avoiding or avoid taking on too much risk, right? And then by trading Wednesday, which is a bank holiday for dollar index, so likely there's not going to be much movement, or there will be significant strength in all of the foreign currencies because dollar index isn't moving, and that's fine too. But generally you want to be cautious on a holiday. Then you have FOMC, and then you have NFP. This is just a lot of risk. After London session on Wednesday, you're entering a ton of risk in the market. So again, it's up to you whether or not you want to trade that stuff. But for me, you're only going to get signals from me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday London session, because that's the only times I'm going to be trading. Thursday, Friday, honestly, I'll wait and look at the markets like over the weekend or something. I'll probably look at them during the sessions and whatnot, but I don't really want to be focusing too much of my attention on that during these 2 days, because at the end of the day, I know it's a high impact news event, and I just want to let the price action unfold, and then it'll give me a better understanding what they're going to want to do after that unfolds. So, for you guys, especially if you're relatively new, stay away from FOMC, stay away from NFP. These are the news events that I've lost the most amount of money on. So I don't, really look to trade these things. If this is something that you want to go in and like gamble and try to like, make a quick buck or whatever, understand that you can lose a quick buck too. And I was, one of those people that did lose, a lot of money trying to trade these high impact news events. So I trade news events like GBP, stuff like that, but I'm not looking to trade like, you see what we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 red folders, 1 medium folder, all for dollar index. We've got FOMC, crude oil inventory. Like if FOMC wasn't here, then it would be different. We'd have crude oil and we'd have just like some regular high impact news. But FOMC is a big deal. NFP is a big deal. You don't want to trade during these two things. They're just it's personally not worth it. Okay, enough with the little rant on the news. So we've got that pretty much looked at. Again, I wanted to focus primarily on buying euro this week, but it looks like the majority of the news on the days that we'll be trading is in cable. So we're going to have to see what we do get in cable. Again, for the upside, I want to see this high taken out, and then for the downside, we're going to be looking for that 1.30 big figure level. We just have to see what we're getting in terms of price action on these lower time frames, like this 1 hour here. Are we going to find support here? Are we going to find support here? And if the market is trading into these levels right around, or as soon as the news releases, and it's starting to show support, then that could be a pretty good trade setup for us. So that's some of the things that you want to focus on. You want your news to align with the time that price is getting to this level, and then once that's the case, you kind of know that you have a little bit more confidence in that specific trade. So we're going to be watching cable and euro. We're going to be watching both and see what we get. But again, the news is primarily in cable, so that'll probably be the one to be trading. So that's pretty much it for the weekly technicals. Let me see. I can go over UJ and UCAD really quickly, see if we have anything in these two. See, UJ is kind of one of those pairs I feel that you can't really use the dollar index too much to determine which way it's going to go, because a lot of times UJ is doing its own thing. Like dollar index may be pushing lower, but UJ is pushing higher. And this pair personally looks like it wants to take out this high and potentially even come back into this ICT bearish order block. So this pair is just one of the ones that I'd rather like scalp if I'm trading it. But primarily I don't really trade this pair like too much at all. But in terms of people who do trade it, or how you could go about trading it, I would mainly focus on like scalping this pair, and then all you're going to want to wait for is just like a break of structure on a 1 hour. So for example, we're on a 1 hour time frame. And this is something that I only recommend for you guys that are looking to like scalp and trade, more pairs than what I actually look at. So if you want to like, trade if you want to trade euro, what am I saying? If you want to trade UJ, then you can focus on. Obviously, you want to go look at the higher time frames and figure out what the direction that you think it's going to move into. But something I've noticed is really common with UJ is it'll break structure, okay, and then we always use the fib on the swing that broke structure. So if we draw our fib on this swing here, we can see the market traded right into 61.8, and then it pushed higher. So that's one entry opportunity that we'd have here. We'll just put a little X on it, and then we'll delete it. And then if we look at the next swing that broke market structure, what would it be? We have this low, and then we have this high that broke above this high. So we got a new swing. We can pull our fib on this one. Now notice for this one, we didn't actually have a level that got traded to. The market rejected here. It didn't trade down into 61.8 or 70.5. So could you have bought it here? No. There was no entry opportunity off of this swing. So what do? Wait for the next swing to form. What's the next swing that forms and breaks structure? Well, this low, then you got this high that breaks above this high. So what do? Draw your swing on that. Look what the market does. Pushes down right into 61.8, 70.5, just misses 79, then pushes higher. All right. So what can you do from there? Look at the next swing. You've got this low, and then you've got this high that made a higher high than this one. So you can draw your swing on that. And you can see the market is, or pretty much closed the week after touching 70.5 and closing right above 61.8. Does that mean UJ is going to open and continue higher right out the gate? No, not necessarily. But what I'm saying is this is something that you guys can start practicing and testing on UJ if you do want to trade this pair. And for those of you that are looking for those shorter term scalps and to trade a little bit more frequently, then maybe you can try something like this. But don't draw your swing unless you're drawing a swing on the one that broke structure, because you can't just draw your fib on any swing. It's got to be a logical swing that you're going to be waiting for the retracement on. So with that being said, that was just a little quick educational lesson, I guess. Then now we'll look at UCAD on a weekly time frame. Now we've been talking about UCAD potentially retesting this level here at 31. Yeah, 31 to 31.20. Now you can see the market posted these two highs here and then rejected off of that level, and has now it's basically as the market opens, it'll be right at this level, and we'll see what we get, whether or not we find support here. Because if we look at this, there's a low, then the market broke structure. This would be a retest of structure here. So are we going to continue higher off of that, or are we going to trade lower and follow the same suit as the dollar index and push lower? So that's going to be something I'm watching out for. But again, UCAD is just one of those pairs that I have not been liking the way that price action is until we've gotten this break above it. Everything in here was just so ugly and unclear, to be honest. So what I'm going to be waiting for now is, are we going to show bullish price action off of this? Or are they going to want to just start dropping this thing hard and take all these lows out, since they've been since they pushed up here and they've taken out this liquidity that was back here and shown this massive rejection? Are they ready to go? Like, are they ready to now clear up all these lows here? And that could very well be the case if we do get weaker dollar index. So dollar CAD could be a very weak pair going into the end of the summer to the fall months. We could see dollar CAD, just start making new lows, breaking below these lows here. So we have to see what we get with this, but showing this massive rejection so far is indicating that they are potentially finding some level of resistance here. Now we want to see, are they going to find support here? Are they going to break through this and then just continue lower? But yeah, overall, I don't really watch UJ or UCAD too much. My primary focus is Euro and GBP, but this is just for those of you guys that do watch these pairs and wanted to kind of know my take on what I think they're going to do. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post those in the chat box really quickly. That's going to wrap up. Sorry. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the weekly technicals live session. If you guys have any questions, post them in the chat box and I'll answer them for you, and we'll go ahead and move in to the Q&A portion.